If you've ever driven through the Italian countryside or seen pictures of it, you might have noticed that something just doesn't quite add up. There are these odd patches of land in the middle of what looks otherwise like solid rock. And those strange areas aren't just rocks, they're actually craters left behind by one of the largest volcanic eruptions in history. And researchers think that this so-called supervolcano may not be done erupting yet. This is our channel. And today, we're answering the extraordinary question, what if the ground beneath Italy just gave way? The massive caldera, also known as a crater, which houses the Naples Supervolcano, is located just outside the city of Naples, about 20 miles or 32 kilometers below the surface. It's been building since about 100,000 years ago. And while it's technically not a single volcano, but rather a group of volcanoes grouped together, it's currently considered to be dormant, although it has shown signs of rumblings in recent years. According to the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, supervolcanoes can cause some of the most violent and far-reaching eruptions in Earth's history. They're ranked based on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, or VEI, which measures the magnitude of volcanic eruptions based on the height of the eruption plume, the volume of material erupted, and other factors. To qualify as a supervolcanic eruption, an eruption must have a VEI of 8. For comparison, Mount St. Helens in Washington state had a VEI of 5, which is considered a major eruption, but the Naples supervolcano's last major eruption would rate as a 7. It all went down about 16,000 years ago when magma began pushing its way toward the surface. Eventually, the pressure from the magma was greater than the structural integrity of the crust, and the land above the magma chamber collapsed. This created the 180-mile-long or 300-kilometer-long caldera that we know today. Then the magma chamber drained and the already weakened crust fractured, releasing even more magma and creating the Campi Flegrei Caldera, which is now submerged about 98 feet or 30 meters underwater. But between then and now, there have been a lot of eruptions. The Campi Flegrei, or fields of fire, are dotted with small craters. Some are still filled with water, others are dry. Some were formed hundreds of years ago and others just a few decades ago. For instance, in 1984, a new crater called the New Zealand crater formed after several smaller craters merged. But the Naples supervolcano isn't done with the area just yet. Scientists believe there's still magma deep underground trying to make its way to the surface. According to geologist Giovanni Macedonio, who spoke with National Geographic, the reason why we haven't seen any major activity in the last 16,000 years is because the magma stopped moving. It became stagnant and turned into solid rock. So basically the magma chamber is full, but there's still magma coming in. This is the reason why the Naples supervolcano is considered a ticking time bomb. According to researchers, the magma chamber could reach its maximum capacity at any moment, leading to another caldera-forming eruption. And this isn't just a far-off doomsday scenario either. Geologist Marco Moretti of the Institute of Marine Sciences in Naples told National Geographic that such an event could occur within the next 10,000 years. So it's important that we take steps to prepare. In fact, scientists are already taking this threat seriously. A team of researchers from various European institutions recently used computer models to understand how dangerous a new eruption could be. Their results were published in the journal Scientific Reports. And according to their models, an eruption that ejects 660 cubic miles or 2,700 cubic kilometers of ash and pumice could cover much of southern Italy, parts of the Mediterranean and even northern Africa in up to 6 inches or 15 centimeters of ash. Ash, by the way, is not the same thing as lava. Ash is made up of tiny pieces of rock that are created when magma reaches the surface and is violently dispersed into the atmosphere. Ash can travel extremely long distances and pose many threats to human life, including blocking out the sun and causing long-term climate change. Ash can also suffocate plants and animals and render soil unable to support life. Areas covered in ash can also face flooding as the fine particles make their way into local waterways, and inhaling ash can cause serious respiratory problems. Now, All of this depends on the size of the eruption. If it's a small one, there might only be minor effects. But if it's bigger, there could be global consequences. So these researchers wanted to model a worst-case scenario. How bad could things get? They found that an eruption of this size could have significant effects on the climate, even if it's not quite the end of the world. In their model, they found that the temperatures in Central and Northern Europe could drop by up to 10 degrees Fahrenheit or 6 degrees Celsius within 2 years after the eruption. And these low temperatures could persist for up to 2 decades. Not good news for crops and livestock, but certainly not the end of the world either. But here's where things get really complicated. See, in the real world, things don't just happen in neat little models. There are a lot of variables to consider, especially when it comes to volcanic eruptions. It turns out that predicting exactly how much ash will shoot into the sky is very difficult. Even worse, scientists don't agree on how much material is still left in the magma chamber. Some say it could be anywhere from 200 cubic miles or 85 cubic kilometers to over 1,500 cubic miles or 620 cubic kilometers. Others argue that there could be as much as 5,000 cubic miles or 2,000 cubic kilometers of magma left to go off. What's more, researchers don't agree on whether or not the magma is still rising. Back in 2019, scientists reported that the caldera had been slowly inflating. However, that study was published in Geophysical Research Letters, which is not a peer-reviewed journal. So the results have yet to be scrutinized by other experts in the field. There are also conflicting reports on whether the Naples Supervolcano has been rumbling lately. Back in 2017, a 4.0 magnitude earthquake struck just offshore from the coast of Naples. The quake was felt as far away as Rome. While it caused some damage to buildings, there were no casualties. But some people did report feeling a slight tremor in the earth a few days before the quake. Locals took these rumblings to be signs that the volcano was awakening. But scientists didn't seem too concerned. They noted that there hadn't really been any changes in the seismic activity around the caldera, and that the earthquakes that did occur were pretty typical for the region. Basically, the area is prone to earthquakes, so this wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Regardless, locals were understandably freaked out. The Naples Supervolcano sits right in the middle of one of the most densely populated regions in all of Europe. The Naples metropolitan area alone has over 4 million people. That's nearly 10 times the population of Los Angeles. So you can see why people would be concerned. This brings us back to the question posed by the title of this video. What if the ground beneath Italy just gave way? Let's imagine a worst-case scenario. A large enough earthquake strikes to trigger the magma chamber. It erupts, sending tons of ash and pumice into the air. The residents of Naples flee to the surrounding areas, but roads quickly become impassable due to ash and falling debris. Those who stay behind find themselves knee-deep in ash. Schools are shut down. Essential services grind to a halt. People struggle to breathe in the thick, ash-filled air. As the dust settles, the affected areas turn to ash. Crops die. Farm animals die. The landscape itself is changed forever. While the rest of the world scrambles to send help, aid can't arrive fast enough. Global economies suffer as trade routes are disrupted. Flights are cancelled. The sun barely penetrates the ash clouds. Temperatures plummet. Sounds scary, right? Well, maybe. Or maybe it's just another Tuesday in Italy. Look, we're not saying that this is definitely going to happen. We're just saying that it could. And that's why scientists are working hard to learn as much as possible about the Naples supervolcano. You never know when it might blow again. And look, science is important. It helps us understand the world around us and make decisions about how to live in it. But sometimes it's nice to step back and marvel at the crazy things that have happened in the past. Like when humans first started farming, or when the wheel was invented. These are big moments in history that shaped the world we live in today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and leave your suggestions for topics that we should cover in the future.